all of your forwarding and freight shipping needs. We at Trin Forwarding International are committed to product delivery. At Trin Forwarding, we have the much needed experience, professionalism, and due diligence in freight forwarding, shipping, and cargoes. We deliver with timeliness and precision. You can reach out to us at our Caribbean office in Trinidad and Tobago, telephone number 868-624-6250, or our Florida USA office at 305-887-9724.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to my journey to Islam on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. We are very fortunate, we are very blessed to have with us on today's program Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi, who is the founder of the University of Sufism. And Dr. Jaffi, Ibrahim Jaffi, is a medical doctor. He's a Sufi master healer, a spiritual guide, etc. You will hear more about Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi as we get down on the show and as we learn more from him actually. And in one of our previous interviews, we introduced him as from a Jewish doctor to a Muslim Sufi.
Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey to Medina and Mecca plus Umrah and Ramadan, which is equivalent to the blessings of Hajj. It will be from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024, led by Shaikh Shafayat. Cost per person is double for $37.50, triple for $36.50, and quad for $35.50. This includes airfare, hotels, transportation, as well as breakfast and dinner plus tours. It will be 5 nights in Turkey, 3 nights in Medina, and 3 nights in Mecca, but the cost of visas are not included. You will be visiting historic sites of Artul and Osman plus the Ottoman Empire, as well as visiting the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, Topkapi Palace, plus many more sacred sites. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You could also email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Alhamdulillah, for free copies of the Holy Quran, contact Al-Hikmat Caribbean office at 1-868-325-8276. You can also follow us on Al-Hikmat TV, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc. For more information, you can also contact Al-Hikmat's Florida USA office. You can visit our website at www.alhikmat.com or call us at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158.
Allah, ya Allah, ya Allah, His throne extends over the heaven.
It's savings and big discounts when you shop at Fens nationwide. Upgrade your home or treat yourself to something special. Enjoy store-wide savings on furniture, appliances, electronics, bedroom, and so much more when you shop at Fens of Marbella, Chagonas, Pinal, and Piaco. Visit us in store for more information or call 650-FENS, that's 650-3367, or check us out on Facebook, Fens of Trinidad and Tobago, serving generations.
So welcome to the show, Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi.
Thank you very much, and I'm really delighted to be with you and to share my story and just try to bring some peace and unity into the world today. So
and I think a person like you with your background and personality, that will definitely bring a whole different perspective to people throughout the world. So let us know, for the benefit of myself, the viewers worldwide, a little bit about your background, Dr. Ibrahim, like where you're from, where you're originally from, etc. And we'll go down the road on this journey, your career, your profession, and how you got motivated to become a Muslim and what led on after that, etc. But in between, I will cut in to ask questions that some of the viewers may be having in their mind as you talk. So let us know your background.
Well, I was brought up in New Jersey, in a Jewish family. We were conservative Jewish, meaning we weren't Orthodox. I moved to Chicago. My father was a head of the American Chemical Society, or what do you call it, the secretary, I think it was, the American Chemical Society. So he was very involved in sort of the government at the time. He was a specialist in what they call phosphorescent chemistry, which eventually led to the formation of color TV, and he was brought out to Chicago to develop Zenith TV in their phosphorescent color TVs. So I grew up in Chicago. I went to high school in the suburbs. I was actually a wrestler, believe it or not, and a football player. I went on to actually attend the Junior Olympics.
So when you say wrestler, you mean you wrestled in school, you wrestled local wrestling? What was that about?
I was in high school. I was a wrestler, and college.
Yeah.
I was, we there was a type of wrestling called Greco-Roman, where we did kind of upper body wrestling, and it was kind of a prelude into the Olympics. So I was on that Olympic track when I was in high school until I got injured, but I did end up becoming one of the Illinois champions and went on to the Junior Olympics in the United States. So very happy, proud about that.
Subhanallah, that's interesting. That is interesting. I like wrestling. I love wrestling, and that's why when you said that, I had to what is this about? What were you? I mean, you got the size, you got the build, you got the ability to do that. Subhanallah, mashallah.
SubhanAllah. Yeah, wrestling is a great metaphor for what's going on, because wrestling is one of the few sports where people, they actually compete against each other, but they don't hurt each other. They're really trying to actually be strong, but they're not violent. So wrestling's
Okay. That is an interesting point. It's a good opportunity to exercise your strength and become physically fit, be athletic, etc., without really hurting people deliberately.
That's right. That's right. I think, and that kind of serves as a metaphor for what we see going on in the world today. People are fighting, but they're hurting each other. They're not doing it from a state of, good, positive competition and goodness with each other. They're doing it from a bad place. And I think that we need to shift that. There's nothing wrong with being strong. We need to be strong.
Yes.
We need to be competitive. It's okay, but not to hurt each other.
I love that. Nice. So continue. Subhanallah.
So anyways, I went to University of Illinois, both in Urbana and in Chicago. I majored in microbiology. I studied a lot of viruses. I was very familiar with COVID and all that type of thing because of my studies. And then I went on to medical school in the university in Chicago, and I was actually on my path to become a cardiologist, because the way of the heart, that's the way to go, right? But I was actually at Weiss Memorial Hospital when I was doing a rotation in the ICU when they brought in a Jewish girl from the Orthodox community who was dying of hepatitis. And, when I got to her, she was in coma. She was, basically a week or so from death. And we gave up. I mean, all the hospitals, this was back in 1981 or 82. But anyways, all the hospitals, Rush and University of Chicago and University of Illinois, were all trying to figure out how to save her. Nobody could save her. She was dying. And so the rabbis actually went and they called the Jewish Sephardic, Ashkenazi head in Israel. He went into the Talmud, which is a sacred Jewish book.
Yeah.
And there was a whole way of treating hepatitis, which had to do with taking a dove and putting the dove on the belly button of the person who was sick. And if the dove pulled out the illness, the dove would die. That was the story. So, for me, as a doctor, I thought this was crazy.
So in the meantime, were you a very religious practicing Jew at that time, or just a medical doctor, or what was it like?
I think at that point, I was a medical doctor who was exploring spirituality, and I was looking into all sorts of spirituality. I actually felt that I wasn't finding the spirituality in Judaism, so I was looking elsewhere.
Okay, 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 okay. And then they did this pigeon exercise or whatever, and then what happened after that?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, first of all, I mean, the uproar in the hospital was incredible. Like the doctors all were incredibly angry about what was happening. But they brought in 30 pigeons, doves, into the ICU in a big box.
Oh my God, that is interesting.
And and the doctors went crazy. They were worried about psittacosis. They were worried about illness and disease. But behind it, what they were really worried about, I think, was that it might work.
Okay, okay.
Because they were frightened, I think, by something spiritual, mystical, different. And there was a lot of rage going on in the hospital. But the head of the ICU, the head of the hospital, was a good man, and he cared about this girl. He was like, if we have no other choice, let's try something different. So he allowed it, which I was very respectful of. And they brought the birds in with there must have been 30 Orthodox rabbis that came in with them. And they took the bird and they put it on the belly button of the girl. And the bird took one breath and it fell over dead. And it was like, I couldn't believe it. And I thought they were like squeezing the bird or something. They were doing something to it. So I said to them, let me hold it. And they said, no, you have to be a rabbi. You're not holy enough. You have to be somebody who studies Torah. You're not that. You can't do it. Only we can do it. Okay. Bismillah. They then brought in another 18 birds. And every bird they would put on, first bird took 1 second. The second bird took 3 minutes. The third bird took 10 minutes. And so forth. And each bird would die. But as the bird died, they were pulling the illness out of the girl. That's what was so incredible, because all her vital signs were stabilizing, all her blood pressure meds were being reduced. Everything was being brought into harmony inside of her being. By the end of the 18 birds, the girl was essentially healthy. Everything in her vital signs had returned to normal. This happened over
Wow, that is interesting. Yeah.
So the point is that there are secrets out there in healing, which we need to look at. And when people are struggling, it's not always traditional or conventional medicines that are the answers. There are other things available, and one of those things is spirituality. One of those things is Islam. What we practice is helpful. Dua.
So the girl lived after that, right?
She lived, but unfortunately they stopped it before it was complete. And essentially they pulled the plug, and she did much better. Like, she completely settled down. All the vital signs returned to normal. She was at peace. And then all of a sudden she just died. It was just like out of nowhere, she just died. So it was a bit odd. We didn't understand why it happened, because she shouldn't have, but she did. So that was the end of the story.
Wow, that is really a very unique story. It's first time I heard about that. First time I heard about that sort of treatment, But I mean, it's never too late to learn something, huh?
Well, this is the thing where I keep talking about unity. Like, we're one people. All of us have pieces of the puzzle. Allah said He created us in tribes to know each other. He didn't create us in tribes to kill each other. He created us in tribes to know each other and to share with each other. And there are things to share. We all need to learn from each other. We have beautiful teachings in Islam. We have wonderful teachings. But we do need to share our teachings, and we also need to listen to other people's teachings.
Surely. So during that time, you were searching for spirituality, searching for some sort of spiritual balance or something to that effect. So how this all unraveled, how you traveled on, and what motivated you to come to the fold of Islam. We know, of course, it's Allah's guidance and Allah's mercy, but the logistics of it that we can see as human beings.
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. That's a great question. Well, I mean, in when I started, I was reading, the Bible, the First Testament, and it was empty for me. I read it, but it was empty. I'd read the words, and I kept saying, "There's truth in here, but where is it? I'm not feeling it. We're just in the words." I went to the rabbi, I went to the cantor. I said, where is the truth? And their answer was, "We don't know." So I started looking outside of it. I looked into Hinduism, I looked into Buddhism, I looked into Christianity, I looked into, shamanism, paganism. I was looking everywhere. Where is the truth? And to be honest with you, I wasn't finding it. I wasn't finding, I wanted something that would lift my heart, that would spiritually elevate me, that would make me feel awe of God. And I wasn't feeling it. What I was feeling was dogma, talking, people saying stuff. But honestly, I did not feel truth. I did not feel spiritual upliftment. I didn't feel love. Where were all those things? Where were they in all these spiritual movements? Words, dogma, yes, but where was the spiritual movement of the heart? I wasn't feeling. So anyways, I traveled the world at that point. After this thing in the hospital, I decided I wanted to learn healing. I went all over the world, studied India, Japan, Mexico, all over, Hawaii, kahunas. But you know what? At the end of the day, I became a healer, and then I got very sick. My heart started failing myself. We had a healing school at that point. We were very successful. We had maybe 20, 30,000 people had healed of all types of diseases. But when my heart went down, nothing I did healed me, and I was actually dying.
So what kind of healing school was that you all had operating at that time?
It was called the School of Energy Mastery. I was teaching people how to shift the energetic, the aura, what was going on inside of them. And when they I'll give you an example. We had a man who, my first case actually, he had Meniere's disease, where they lose their hearing and they fall over, they have vertigo, and nothing was healing him. And he came to me, and we looked in, and we found that there was like a tube stuck inside of his head. When he felt it, I said, "I feel this tube in my head." And when we got inside the tube, he saw pictures of his wife. And then I found out he was going through a divorce, and that his wife would always be talking to him, telling him he was no good, he was no good, he was bad. The tube was blocking her talking to him that he was bad. When we took the tube out, we found a way to get it out using visualization, imagination, things like that. When we got the tube out, you know what? His Meniere's disease disappeared within 24 hours.
Oh, subhanallah.
Okay, so when you there's inner energy, inner feelings going on inside of people. So like in his case, he tried to shut down his hearing because he didn't want to hear the negativity going on. But that shut down ended up affecting his balance and his ears, and he got sick. But once we got the tube out, he was fine.
That is very, very phenomenal. Wow, subhanallah. So you are in between this scientific world and this spiritual healing. Wow, that's an interesting path to be between, because most medical doctors are either on one side, but here you were torn apart in the middle of this spiritual world seeking and this medical practice that you have been practicing as a Jewish doctor. But anyway, Dr. Ibrahim, we gotta go on a short break. It's already approximately 15 minutes now since we have been talking. So when we come back after the short break, we want to continue on how you fell sick and where that search and research continued from that led you on to the fold of Islam, inshallah. So to our viewers out there, when we come back, we will continue this conversation with Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi, who Allah guided to Islam from a Jewish medical doctor to a Muslim spiritual healer, or a spiritual healer for all human beings, mashallah. So stay tuned. When we come back, we will continue, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to Alhikmat TV for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the Quran, in chapter 5, verse 67, Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'al, fama balagta risalatahu. Very deep. Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to spread the message of the Quran. And he told the Prophet, and if you do not spread the message, you did not fulfill the mission of the messenger. So you and I are followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we can afford one Quran, help us join in distributing the Quran. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300.
Dawah and Interfaith Institute presents for the first time in U.S.A. Dawah and Interfaith training with education in world religions from religious professors and spiritual leaders of different faiths. This is a 6-month weekend course designed for brothers and sisters local, national, and international who are seeking to learn the importance of Dawah and better understanding of faith and cultures. For more information, please contact 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also contact via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com or visit our website www.alhikmat.com. Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey to Medina and Mecca plus Umrah and Ramadan, which is equivalent to the blessings of Hajj. It will be from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024, led by Shaikh Shafayat. Cost per person is double for $37.50, triple for $36.50, and quad for $35.50. This includes airfare, hotels, transportation, as well as breakfast and dinner plus tours. It will be 5 nights in Turkey, 3 nights in Medina, and 3 nights in Mecca, but the cost of visas are not included. You will be visiting historic sites of Artul and Osman plus the Ottoman Empire, as well as visiting the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, Topkapi Palace, plus many more sacred sites. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You could also email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Alhamdulillah, for free copies of the Holy Quran, contact Alhikmat Caribbean office at 1-868-325-8276. You can also follow us on Alhikmat TV, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc. For more information, you can also contact Alhikmat's Florida USA office. You can visit our website at www.alhikmat.com or call us at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158.
Allah, ya Allah, ya Allah, His throne extends over the heavens.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my journey to Islam on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. For those of you who have just tuned in, we're talking to Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi, whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided to Islam. He was a Jewish doctor, medical doctor, and Allah guided him to Islam. He became a Muslim, became a a Sufi teaching Sufism, and became this very spiritual healer in a whole different capacity. So stay tuned as we continue this conversation with Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi. So yes, Dr. Ibrahim, so as you were saying, then you fell sick, and now you are a Jewish doctor. You fell sick seeking spirituality, and you're between this path. And what happened there?
Yeah. Well, when, as a healer, if your heart becomes sick, my heart was going into heart failure. You know the heart is about love. And
Right.
so I was saying to myself, what's wrong with my healing method, because I'm sick and it has to be about love, and I'm not understanding love. So I went to everyone I knew. I said, who knows how to heal the heart? Who are the people of the heart?
Right.
And they said Sufis. Sufis were the people of the heart. So I said, so Sufism is a path that leads to love in the heart. They said, yes. And I said, well, who is, a great Sufi master, a great Sufi healer? Is there one? Because I'm dying and I don't have time to play around. I need to find a top person, a top healer in the world. Can you direct me to the top healer in Sufism in the world? And at that point they said, people looked and they said there was a man named Muhammad al-Jamal, Sheikh Muhammad al-Jamal, who was head of Al-Aqsa. He was the Al-Aqsa imam, and he was also Sufi. And they said, go see him and he may be able to heal you. And I didn't know anything about Sufism. I didn't know anything about Islam, to be honest with you. And but I was open. So then I found out he was coming to the U.S., so it was actually very easy for me to see him. So I went to see him, and I walked into the house where he was, and he looked at me for no more than 3 seconds, and he said to me, you're dying. And I said, that's true. He said, your heart is failing. I said, that's true. He said, you have 6 months to live. I said, that's true. I said, how do you know all that? And he said, if you know Allah and you're able to be with Allah, Allah can show you anything. So I said to him, so Allah is showing you, this was a form of gnosis. I didn't realize it, a form of ma'rifa. I didn't know what that was at the time. But he said, so I said, Allah is showing you my illness. He said, yes. I said, does Allah show you a way to heal? And he said, yes, but you're going to have to drop everything you've learned about spirituality, and you're going to have to learn it in the Sufi way, the Islamic way, the Muslim way. If you learn that, you can heal your heart. And I said, fine. I said, do you promise me? Because I'm going to put my life in your hands. So promise me that if I give my life in your hands, that you'll heal me. He said, yes, I will. And I did. I gave him my life. I put it in his hands, and within 6 months I was healed. He took care of it for me. And that became my introduction to Sufism. And as time went on, I converted more deep. And I didn't understand initially that Sufism was actually the mystical branch of Islam. I didn't understand the relationships of it. But as time went on, I embraced all of it. And in that complete embracing of it, my heart was completely healed.
Isn't that interesting? So wasn't that very fascinating as a medical doctor, and here you are doing spiritual exercise, meditation, Sufism, and your heart got healed. I mean, it's only obvious that can put anyone on a whole different world of thinking. So during that time, while you were taking the treatment for your heart, that's when you accepted Islam?
Yes, yeah, I think I accepted Islam formally about 2 years in. I mean, I was practicing the Sufi way, but not really. I would say I didn't fully understand the nature of its relationship to Islam. But after a couple of years, I recognized that it really was part of Islam. It was like the inner dimension. It was the Ihsan. It was Ihsan, and I was learning Ihsan, but I needed to learn Islam as well. So I then at that point recognized that I needed to take Shahada, which I did.
So when you accepted Islam, what did your family say, your relatives, whoever were around at that time? What was their impression as a Jewish medical doctor now? They saw this change that you got into Sufism, some spiritual thing, and now you're going to be a Muslim. What was the reaction of your friends, your associates, your family members, etc.? Share some of those stories with us.
I mean, you can imagine what happened. My parents practically disowned me.
Oh, Allah.
You know, they did not. I mean, because at that time, this was back in 1997, maybe. Islam was really considered to be a religion of terrorists, and so I was becoming part of that, and they. First of all, I was leaving Judaism. That was a major sin. And secondly, becoming part of something that they felt was not a good thing. So they wanted me to stop. They wanted me out of it. And the more I went into it, the more I felt that what I was learning was the root of Judaism. What I was missing back in the beginning when I said I was feeling just the dogma. I felt like this was where the real teachings of the prophets were. This is where the real teachings of Moses and Jesus and Abraham were living here. I was finding it finally. And that's what I was looking for. I wanted to understand the truth, and I was finding it in these teachings.
Because most of the time, in Judaism, most of the time, many times or whatever, they do a lot of studies on the Talmud, not so much the Torah, right? I mean, the rabbis and the hierarchy, but the basic layman will do more Talmud understanding. And here in the Quran, you are seeing the Torah and the origin of the Torah teaching that is connected to the Torah. So, of course, that probably brought a whole different perspective to your mind now.
It was incredible, honestly. I mean, the Sheikh was like, he was enlightening my consciousness about the truth of the Torah, the truth of the Bible, the truth of Isa, the truth of Ibrahim. Peace and blessings be upon them. He was giving me the inner dimension of prophethood. He was showing me what prophethood was. He was showing me what God's message really was, and it was beyond anything I had ever touched in my life. And I had been to many enlightened teachers, in all over the world. I'd been with many masters, but what he was showing me was something that was talking to the very deepest part of me, which was how God talks to creation, what God was trying to bring forth. So it was very special.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. That is really interesting. But what was, in addition to some of your friends and relatives or near and dear ones not liking the aspect of you becoming a Muslim, what were some of the issues that they had against Islam? It's good for our people to know in the line of dawah, what people who are not Muslims think about Islam, so that we can try to do more clarification in those areas.
That's a beautiful question. That's a great question.
Because, I'm in the line of dawah, so I am always interested and always curious to know what people think and what is so anti about Islam that have them thinking otherwise. So if we know, then the more we know, it's the better for us to be able to help clarify that. And that's what Islam is about. That's what the Quran is about, making things clear for people.
Absolutely. And just to let you know, I probably brought in over 5,000 people from the West into Islam.
Allahu Akbar. That is approximately 5,000 people. Allah used you as a medium to accept Islam.
Yes.
That is so great. I mean, this is a unique blessing. Just talking to you is a blessing for us on this program, Dr. Ibrahim.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow.
I mean, people need to, first of all, to answer your question, people are afraid of Muslims because of the media, what we've seen, what people are being shown, that Muslims are willing to be violent. They're considered to be tribal, primitive in their way, and that they're, that you can't trust them. That was the bottom line. The Jewish people felt I was disenfranchised. They turned against me. I was a disenfranchised Jew. I had done something bad. They were really against me for what I did. And I think it was interesting, the people that were most open were actually the academics. I found that the university professors were the ones that were most interested in what had happened. They wanted to learn from what had occurred.
Interesting, yeah.
Those are the people who really, they're intelligently seeking the truth. They want to know what's going on. So I think that that's a really important place to talk to, because they're people who have studied and their minds are broad and they're open, and those people for dawah, they're able to be talked to be able to, I mean, when you show the beauty of Islam, nobody can say anything. And I'll give you a quick example of this. We had a Sufi center in California, and we were near a Seventh-day Adventist community. And we were in good terms with each other. We liked them, they liked us, nobody bothered each other, I thought. Well, one day I went into the supermarket, which was the closest one to our center in the community, when one of the professors literally attacked me. He came after me, he said, "Are you Muslim? Are you Sufi?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You're totally wrong. What you're practicing is absolutely wrong, and not only wrong, but it's from the devil." That's what he told me.
Wow, astaghfirullah.
Yeah, and I said, "Well, that's not true." I said that's not right, and we argued about it for a while, and he was yelling at me. I mean, at the top of his lungs in the middle of the grocery store. And we do something, and if you look on the hand, can you see how the hand actually spells Allah? Can you see it written on here? It's kind of backwards, but if you look at, maybe we need to do it this way. But if you look at the here, you can see the Aleph and the Lam and the Ha. It spells Allah.
Subhanallah.
So we call that, it's Allah's written right in our fingers.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. I love that.
So he said to me, "I see that you guys do this." He said, "Do you know that that's a sign of the devil?" And I said, "No." I said, "That's not a sign of the devil. That's the name Allah written in our bodies." And he started saying it's the devil. And I said to him, finally, after a period of time, I said to him, "Look, we make this as the hand of Allah, and we say Allah, and it clears the shaitan." And I went to him, Allah, like this, to show him. And as I did it, it was like a shaitan flew out of him. You couldn't believe it. He shook. He literally shook. And then he said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what was going on with me. I was like possessed. And what you did just cleared me. And now I see clearly."
Allahu Akbar. I love that. That is so phenomenal. Allah, amazing. That's incredible. That is really incredible.
Thank you.
Allahu Akbar. You know, Dr. Ibrahim, we got to go on a break, but when we come back, we really want to continue this conversation on what are some of the strategies that you use to motivate this 5,000 people to accept Islam. I think that is very interesting. That will be very educational for viewers worldwide to have an idea that, Allah has blessed you, Allah has chosen you, Allah has used you as a medium to bring Islam and spirituality into the lives of so many people, Allahu Akbar. So when we come back, inshallah, to our viewers out there, once more, we're talking to Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi. Stay tuned. When we come back, we want to hear from him. Allah has blessed to be able to convert or bring to the fold of Islam. Allah used him as a guide, means to bring over 5,000 people to the fold of Islam. So stay tuned. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah gives hikmat, wisdom, to whomsoever He wills. And whomsoever is given wisdom is certainly given a lot of good. Only the people of understanding will benefit from the reminder. Tune in to Alhikmat TV for khutbahs, lectures, and Islamic reminders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the Quran, in chapter 5, verse 67, Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'al, fama balagta risalatahu. Very deep. Allah tells the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to spread the message of the Quran. And he told the Prophet, and if you do not spread the message, you did not fulfill the mission of the messenger. So you and I are followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we can afford one Quran, help us join in distributing the Quran. So if you can't afford one Quran, do it. $3. 10 Quran, $30. 100 Quran, $300.
Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey to Medina and Mecca plus Umrah and Ramadan, which is equivalent to the blessings of Hajj. It will be from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024, led by Shaikh Shafayat. Cost per person is double for $37.50, triple for $36.50, and quad for $35.50. This includes airfare, hotels, transportation, as well as breakfast and dinner plus tours. It will be 5 nights in Turkey, 3 nights in Medina, and 3 nights in Mecca, but the cost of visas are not included. You will be visiting historic sites of Artul and Osman plus the Ottoman Empire, as well as visiting the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, Topkapi Palace, plus many more sacred sites. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You could also email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my journey to Islam on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Again, it is a blessing and an opportunity to have with us on today's show Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi. He is a Sufi master healer and he's the founder of the University of Sufism. So welcome back to the show, Dr. Ibrahim.
Thank you, Sheikh. I'm happy to be back.
It is a blessing for us. We are so happy, so blessed. I consider ourselves very blessed to have you on this show. And I'm sure that our viewers out there will benefit a lot. So as we ended on the last note of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using you to be a means to bring over 5,000 people to Islam, tell us a little bit, what are some of the strategies or some of the things you have seen in what motivated these people to accept Islam?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, most of the West is sick in the sense of loss of faith, loss of hope, many illnesses and diseases of all types, coming in, loss of belief in God. It's like there's sickness in the sense of spiritual sickness in all the West, really. I think, in fact, most of the world at this point, but especially in the West, we have so much goods. We're materialistically so successful, and yet we've lost everything of value. The love, the peace in our hearts, the healing of our bodies. So the West is crying because deep in our hearts we're empty. And that emptiness is not only making people physically sick, but it's leading to violence, it's leading to all sorts of other things in our society that, and frankly, is destroying our society. So what I found was that I had to talk to the hearts of people. I had to speak to the pain in people. And the pain was that people had no guidance. They didn't know who they were. They lost faith. They didn't have trust. They didn't believe in the church. They didn't believe in what they were learning. They didn't believe that there was truth in these things. So what I found was that by introducing them to the name Allah, by giving them an experience of the what happened through the dhikr and the remembrance of the name, I would have them sit in the remembrance, and they would be face to face with Allah, Allah, Allah. And all of a sudden they would start to feel peace, and they would start to feel love, and they would start to feel truth, and they would start to find hope. And after 15, 20 minutes of that, people would come out and they'd say, we didn't trust Allah, we didn't know what Allah was, but after your experience of remembrance, our hearts feel so good and we feel so awake and so enlightened and so free and so much love that we want to know what Islam is. We want to know what Allah is. We want to know what guidance by Allah is. Teach us. And the more that I brought that out, the more the people were, they were stunned. They were stunned by the value of being in Allah's presence. So, subhanahu wa ta'ala, this was what the essence of what I was doing.
Subhanallah. So that means, I mean, I love that statement you made there, that most of the people are sick. They're spiritually sick. We live in a sick time, a sick world. So we need to have a lot more what you call spiritual hospitals. You know, everywhere we see medical hospitals, therapists, this, that, and the other. I think we really probably need to have some hospitals called spiritual hospital, like what you do. What do you call your centers? Just spiritual healing or what?
We just call it spiritual healing or Sufi spiritual healing. But the concept of is that, for example, for me as a doctor today, mostly I teach, but for example, if you come in and you have, let's say, breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so breast cancer, is one of the number one killers of women today. All right. So you have, traditionally as a physician, you get chemo, you get radiation, you have surgery.
Right.
And, inshallah, it helps, but it often doesn't. Okay. Now we've done the opposite, which is if we go to Allah, they say, okay, we go into remembrance, Allah, dhikr. The people with breast cancer will all of a sudden, through the remembrance, it will open up these places of pain inside of them. And interesting, but breast cancer is mostly about betrayal of love. Most women that have breast cancer, there was somewhere their hearts were broken through a betrayal of love. So when they bring Allah's light in, they see in themselves, they'll say, oh, my father treated me really badly. I love my father so much, and my father did something, he broke something inside of me. And that break, they see, led to the cancer. And when we teach them how to heal that through the 99 names, so let's say we bring in Al-Wadud, and we bring in maybe Al-Shafi, or we bring in some other quality, and we begin to wash the pain out of their hearts, the breast cancer many times disappears.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Okay, and when you see that Allah has that much power, that he can take cancer out of the body, or he can heal a disease or whatever, then you start to recognize the power of God. You start to recognize Allah's power. When you do that, and you recognize he is the Malik al-Mulk, he is the king of creation, and that we are his slaves, we are his servants, we are his beloveds, and we, in the prostration, when we prostrate, we make sajda to him, and we really bow to his light, the miracles are incredible. The miracles in life are incredible, and the number one miracle is that we feel connected, and we feel love, and we feel unity, and we don't feel separation anymore. We don't listen to, voices from others. We come together in unity, and that's the real teaching. For me, this is the real teaching of Islam. Islam is about surrender and submission to God, but why? Because when we do that, we experience love, we experience oneness, unity, and our lives work. But when we do it dogmatically, we do it in our head, we learn Sharia, we learn all these things, but we don't really have the sajda, then we actually are missing that. We don't really have the real iman, we don't have the real ihsan yet. And so we have to learn those things. But that teaching is not just for us as Muslims. That teaching is for globally. Everybody in the world needs to come under the banner of God, the real banner, the banner of truth, the banner of haqq, the banner of love, al-wadud. It's not only for Muslims, it's the whole world. Islam is
Yes, yes, because the Quran speaks about it's for anas, for all humankind. All humankind. The message is for all humankind. The healing, the shifa, the spiritual cure, it's for all humankind. Isn't that interesting?
that is the real message. It is. That's our message. That is the message of Islam.
And I think that Allah has blessed you, Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi. You know, you use the medical knowledge that you have to treat people, and you use that spiritual guidance from Allah to spiritually treat them also. Allahu Akbar. I mean, you are just one of those unique personality we have in the world. Allah bless you very much. Allah bless us. So we got about maybe 1 or 2 minutes again to conclude. It's all yours, the ball in your court. Whatever you would like to say in your conclusion, let our viewers know, inshallah.
Well, I think the conclusion is, we're seeing, the Gaza-Israeli conflict. We're seeing problems in the whole world. I believe that Islam has the answers for the whole world. And I think that those answers come from our direct connection and ability to receive guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to understand inside of ourselves the inner and the outer. The inner meaning the direct inner guidance, the outer meaning Quranic teachings, Torah, Bible, all of it. We can put this all together and bring unity. And that's the message that I would like to see out there. And it is, you're right, Sheikh. It's a message of healing. It's a message of truth that we need to spread to all the world. And we need to start with ourselves.
Truly. That's very true. That's very true. Well, Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi, really thank you very much. Allah bless you. It has been an opportunity, a blessing for us. We were very fortunate to have you on today's show. May Allah continue to guide you and bless you and protect you and give us all the good in this world, the good in the hereafter, and grant us Jannah. May Allah again continue to give you that guidance to be able to be a means of bringing so many people to the fold of Islam, mashallah. So to our viewers out there, we are very fortunate to have had Dr. Ibrahim Jaffi with us on the show today, spiritual healer, medical doctor. And for those of you who must have just tuned in, he was a Jewish medical doctor, and Allah guided him to be a Muslim spiritual healer for humankind, a very unique personality in the world, and Allah blessed us very much to have had him with us and for him to take the time to be with us on this show, My Journey to Islam. So until then, always stay tuned to Alhikmat TV and make dua for us, make dua for Dr. Ibrahim, and we ask him to make dua for us, and may Allah let us all be under his shade on the day of judgment and grant us Jannah, paradise without reckoning. Ameen. So, until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Get everything you need at Fenn's Agri Center and Hardware Superstore, located at 243 Southern Main Road, Marabella. We carry a wide selection of hardware and agri products. Visit us in-store or call 650-3367.
Alhikmat Services Florida USA invites you to join our tour from Miami to Turkey to Medina and Mecca plus Umrah and Ramadan, which is equivalent to the blessings of Hajj. It will be from March 1st, 2024 to March 14th, 2024, led by Shaikh Shafayat. Cost per person is double for $37.50, triple for $36.50, and quad for $35.50. This includes airfare, hotels, transportation, as well as breakfast and dinner plus tours. It will be 5 nights in Turkey, 3 nights in Medina, and 3 nights in Mecca, but the cost of visas are not included. You will be visiting historic sites of Artul and Osman plus the Ottoman Empire, as well as visiting the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, Topkapi Palace, plus many more sacred sites. For more information, please contact Alhikmat office at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You could also email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Casa Nouveau Investments in Guyana. Sharia Bacchus, CEO of Casa Nouveau Investments. Brokering of sales and rentals, commercial properties, industrial properties, residential properties, and land. Property management, property development, interior design, and real estate investment consultancy. For more information, please call at 954-326-9537 or 592-643-5948. You can also email at shariabakis3@gmail.com. Dawah and Interfaith Institute presents for the first time in U.S.A. Dawah and Interfaith training with education in world religions from religious professors and spiritual leaders of different faiths. This is a 6-month weekend course designed for brothers and sisters local, national, and international who are seeking to learn the importance of dawah and better understanding of faith and cultures. For more information, please contact 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158. You can also contact via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com or visit our website www.alhikmat.com. Linda M. Kaplan, PA, an immigration law firm. Over 40 years of legal services in immigration and naturalization matters. Contact her at 305-670-7665. Once again, 305-670-7665, or email her at lk@lindakaplan.com or visit her website lindakaplan.com. You can also contact for more details the Alhikmat office at 954-986-0158 or 1-800-804-0267. You can also reach out to them via email at alhikmat@alhikmat.com, the website www.alhikmat.com, and visit the Alhikmat TV www.alhikmattv.com. Alhamdulillah, for free copies of the Holy Quran, contact Alhikmat Caribbean office at 1-868-325-8276. You can also follow us on Alhikmat TV, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc. For more information, you can also contact Alhikmat's Florida USA office. You can visit our website at www.alhikmat.com or call us at 1-800-804-0267 or 954-986-0158.
Allah, ya Allah.